Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all of the stuff, you know what to do. Right, I've got a lot to get through today, so before I do, the thing I really want to talk about first of all, of course, is the situation in the Kendo community with the COVID-19 outbreak, or the coronavirus outbreak as it's being called. Obviously, it's causing some of a situation globally. And yeah, I've got a few things I want to say about it. I've got a whole page of stuff I want to talk about in relation to that, to be honest, before I jump to your questions, all right? So I will be getting to the questions, but I do want to address this first. So basically, obviously, this outbreak of coronavirus, COVID-19, it's affecting a lot of us in Kendo. Most people around the world probably doing Kendo are starting to see some kind of way that this is impacting on them. Even the European Kendo Championships, for example, has been cancelled because of it. Of course, that's very saddening, but obviously necessary to prevent the spread of it, hopefully bring an end to it sooner rather than later, and hopefully keep it something of a short-term issue. And don't forget, of course, Kendo is still going to be there when it's all over. So I know that lots of us, myself included, probably aren't going to be able to do as much Kendo as they'd like to over the coming weeks or even months. But it's still there for us, okay? Kendo is still there for us when this is over, all right? So there is that to keep in mind, okay? Now, before I get into the other things I want to say, obviously, I'd like to urge everyone, of course, to follow the advice that's given by the authorities in each of your countries, and don't take risks. Keep yourself healthy, keep your hands clean, and if you feel sick, then stay at home. Yeah, stay at home. If you have a temperature, if you have cough, if you don't feel well, just keep yourself at home, and definitely don't go and do Kendo with other people. Don't panic buy toilet paper and hand soap and stuff like that. That's kind of stupid. It's not a zombie apocalypse. Yeah. Buy what you need, but don't make a fool of yourself. Yeah. Whilst we're all basically affected with these practices being cancelled, or these events being cancelled, of course, Kendo can still be part of our life. All right, it still can be part of our life, and I want my sort of idea or ideal situation really is for the Kendo Show, this channel, and of course KendoStar, my company that sells Kendo equipment. You might have heard me talk about it once or twice. I want those to be sort of aids really, as much as possible, to help Kendo stay part of our everyday life even throughout this situation. So there's several sort of commitments, I hesitate to use the word, but commitments I'd like to kind of make to help the community get through this obviously difficult and trying time for us, where we're not able to do as much Kendo as we really want to. So obviously we can practice at home. All right, if we're not able to go out, or if we can't practice at the dojo as we normally would, we can still practice at home, okay? Obviously, I've got a video with some suggestions of how you can do that. I'll put it on the screen somewhere, and I'll link it in the description below, all right? It's about practicing stability at home. That's definitely something you can do. Definitely worth doing. And you can do Mitori Geiko. Mitori Geiko, of course, is something I talk a lot about. Mitori Geiko being watching practice, where you watch Kendo and you learn from watching Kendo. Now, to aid this, okay, this is one of the things I want to do my best over the coming weeks with, is I've already filmed, luckily, just a couple of weeks ago, filmed some brand new episodes of the Kendo Show, instructional content, new episodes of Zero to Shodan, and I'll do my very best. I'll make it a priority actually to get those edited and out as soon as possible. So even if you're not able to get down to the dojo, there's some more content for you to consume and hopefully enjoy. I'll also make a special effort to film more of the analysis videos. I know I haven't filmed many of those recently. It's where I find videos of Kendo, and I kind of break down what I'm watching, what I'm learning from it, and kind of analyze the content of the videos that we're watching. I'll make a special effort to make more of those, so that's something that we can basically we can watch and learn together. Again, whilst we're not able to attend the dojo, perhaps. And I'll continue, of course, to keep posting interesting videos or clips that I find from around the net on our blog pages, where you can see, it's not massive walls of text and stuff. I basically find videos that you might not have found if you don't speak Japanese or something. It can be a bit difficult to figure out what all the videos are, what they represent, but I generally just find some interesting ones, stick them on there with a little bit of a description of what it is, and it's something that I try to do on a daily basis, and I'll of course continue to do that, so there's still something to keep your eyes on while this whole thing's going on. And of course, now is a great time to be checking over your equipment whilst you're not using it. Give it the the care and attention it probably deserves and doesn't always get. Check it's all in good shape, and replace what needs replacing. Obviously, with lots of clubs being closed for practice around the world, if I'm straight up about it, it's obviously going to be quite a testing time for KendoStar as a business as well. Obviously, with people not practicing, buying new Kendo equipment isn't necessarily going to be what's at the forefront of their mind, and I totally appreciate that. Now, we're not currently experiencing any major disruptions to the excellent service we provide, and we're continuing to operate as normal, but understandably we've had some supply chain issues over the last few weeks, but they're mostly resolved now. But I would appreciate your patience with us should we encounter any further ones that are a little, because it's a little bit uncertain. Things do crop up, and as on the whole, it's stuff that's resolved, but sometimes we've experienced the odd delay on a few things, which I think is to be expected at this time. All right. Now, look, I know I'm always on here hammering to tell you to shop at KendoStar and stuff, and I know that it's probably not a priority, like I said, at this sort of time. But I'm not gonna make jokes about it now. But don't forget about us, because it is what keeps the channel going. And if you can support us, obviously that's really really appreciated. For example, now's a great time to pick up Shinai. In all seriousness, it's a good chance for you to get some new Shinai, strip them and oil them and make sure they're fully dried out before you get to the dojo. And the great thing as well is it's essentially you're going to have a bit more time to let them sit in the environment in your country, and sort of acclimatize, for want of a better phrase, to the climate in the country that you're in, or wherever you are, and that's going to help a lot with the durability, frankly. So it's a good chance actually to grab new Shinai, because that's something that definitely helps out. And then the final thing I want to say really is, I'm going to continue improving the services that we offer at KendoStar no matter what. And we've got a current sale on. You've probably seen it. You might have heard about it. But I'll be increasing the scope of that if I can to encompass more products, as well as adding new and exciting products as well. We've actually added a brand new series of Shinai, a Kinjirishi series. Beautiful Shinai imported from Japan. You can check them out on the site as well. So whilst Kendo is in your mind, even if you can't get to training, you can at least get onto the KendoStar site and have a look around. Even if you don't buy anything, it'd be fun to look through what we've got. I don't mind you doing that either. Okay, so with that all being said, that's enough about that. Let's get into these questions. Okay, first question. We're all told not to cut do horizontally, but at a 45-degree angle. However, horizontal cuts to the stomach do exist in the use of the katana. See, for example, Seite Iai Kata no 11. number 11. What is the benefit of a 45-degree door cut over a horizontal cut, apart from the aesthetic point of view? I just thought I ought to explore this rather than saying because Sensei said so. So, one, Kendo is not EI. So what they do in EI is totally irrelevant to Kendo. So it doesn't matter if they do it in EI, doesn't mean we do it in Kendo. You know, they punch in boxing, but we don't punch in Kendo, right? It's not, it isn't connected in that way, okay? Yes, perhaps in other techniques, sorry, not techniques, other schools or forms using a Japanese sword, they have different types of cuts. Now, with a shinai, we cut at a 45-degree angle, because of the dynamics of Kendo for a start. It's definitely better to get the leverage as we cut with our hips, not twisting them too much, but at the correct, forgetting the word, posture, yeah, and the correct cutting angle at 45 degrees. If you cut horizontally like this, then you're not going to get the correct tenuichi that you need for a strike that has sae, okay? You need to have your, sae is the sharpness, crispness of the cut, okay? When you manipulate the shinai, you must do so with the wrists this way. If you do that horizontally, it's not going to work. You're not going to use your left wrist in the way that you need to in order for a strike to be considered valid in the context of Kendo, okay? Okay, next question. Facial hair in Kendo. I'm wanting to grow a pretty epic beard, but wondering if there's any regulations or perceptions against it. No, there's no regulations against it. You're perfectly welcome to. It might disturb the fit of your men though, so bear that in mind. Next one. I've never hit the perfect door strike. I'm inclined to believe that the torso is harder to hit than the men for the most part. Is that the same for everybody? Yeah, that's pretty much the same as everybody. It's much harder to hit a correct door strike than it is to hit a correct men strike, and it's hard enough to hit a correct men strike. So that's normal. Probably it'll get better with practice. Hi Andy, in Italy we're blocked at home, yeah. So what exercises do you recommend in this period? What do you think about the foodie stand? So the video I linked in the description that I talked about earlier, go and watch that. I talk all about it. I was just wondering, me and my son are about to start Kendo very soon, and I was browsing KendoStar because I'd like to purchase our gear there, but I'm wondering if there are any specific gear that you would recommend for beginners, specifically a small adult and an 11-year-old. Thank you for all you do to promote Kendo. We love your videos. So, if you're going to start Kendo very soon, you don't need to rush out and buy your bogu, your armor, right away. Okay? You don't need to panic about that at all. Get along to the club if it's practicing, and if it's not practicing just yet, just wait until it starts up and then go along. But the stuff you want to be looking at on KendoStar, first you want to be looking at like shinai. Just the basic shinais are fine. Either the Goriki shinai, which is the basic practice shinai, or the KendoStar all-purpose shinai, both fantastic models. We've got the Goriki in junior sizes as well. If he's 11, he's probably going to want a size 36, or possibly 37. And yeah, then you might want to look at a uniform. We've got the basic essentials uniform, and something like the blue Gaia uniform is great too. And the Borger Vanguard is by far the best Borger for adults that are just starting out in Kendo. It's brilliant. It's our flagship model. It's protective, it's comfortable, it's durable, it ticks all the boxes, and it's a great price, to be honest. If it is a bit over your budget though, we've got the V1, which is a great compromise. Or if you wanted to spend a bit more, you could go for something like the Shinobu Wraith. They're really, really popular, but there is a lead time on those of like 6 to 8 10 weeks probably at the moment, thinking about it. All right, probably I'd go with the Vanguard if it fits in your budget. For the juniors, the best one to go for is the Vanguard Junior. Super protective. It's great for kids, especially those practicing outside of Japan that sometimes have to practice with adults, because it's got extra protection in it. It's what my own kids wear, so it's what I make sure definitely protects them the most. Okay, there's a beginner's bundle as well that we do, which has basically got all that in it. It's got like a Borger set, it's got a uniform, it's got a shinai, it's got a bokuto, it's got everything. So check that out as well. Next one. Hi Andy. Do you think switching kamae, nito or jodan can help with your ito and chudan? Also, any tips on choosing the kenshi order for team competitions? For instance, strategies to pick kenshi for senpo or taisho. So, switching kamae, nito or jodan help with your ito and chudan? Probably not in the early stages, and when I say that, below 5th dan. If you're below 5th dan, I don't think you'll benefit as much from doing Nito or Jordan as you'd probably like me to say that you would. You'd be better off spending the time training your Chudan. Do it for fun by all means, but you would benefit more from training in regular Chudan. Past 5th Dan or 6th Dan, something like that. I've thought about it. Now I've got my 6th Dan and I'm looking at Renshi. I've thought about exploring Jordan slightly, only to improve my Chudan. But I'm not sure that my Chudan is good enough for me to really take my attention away from it just yet. So yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. About team order for competitions, for the most part, you want someone in Senpo that's probably going to win. You want someone in Taisho that's probably going to win. Same as for Chuken. And if for Jiho and for Kusho, you want somebody that's likely to win. Okay, but if all else fails, put them in grade order. That's the easiest way, or age order is another good way of doing it. But yeah, for the most part, you should put your strongest player as the Taisho, and you should put your second strongest player probably. It depends on the type of tournament, but Senpo is a good place. It's good to get a win straight off the bat. Depends on what kind of player they are, though. If they're very good at getting out points and being leading the charge, shall we say, then Senpo, that's the first player, number one. That's a good choice for them. If they're the more sort of calm, collected style of player that might come back with a draw rather than a win, then Senpo's not the best choice for them. You're better putting them in something like Fukusho or something like that. Actually, Jiho is probably a better thing. But it depends on the people. Depends. Like I say, if in doubt, just put them in grade order. Next one. I have some questions about Borga. Firstly, I noticed that some door have a leather loop on the inside between the Mune and the door die. What's that for? Secondly, I recently got a new pair of kote. However, the first time I used them during Keiko, the inside of the kote kept rubbing against the first knuckle of my right hand. So there's a blister. Is there anything I can do to prevent this? So I'll answer them in reverse order. The kote, probably they just need to break in a little bit more. I'm sure if you keep using them, that problem will go away as they stretch to fit your hands better. It's not massively uncommon, to be honest. The thing about the Borga, let me just grab one so I can show you what we're talking about. Oof. Okay, here we are. Right, so I've got a door here. This is a door and a tare that's sort of tied up. So let me just pop the men down a second. So basically, the loop you're talking about is this one here. Okay, there's a loop there on lots of doors. It's not on all of them. But if you tie the tare to the door like this, okay, use the side himo to tie the tare will be like that. Mine's come apart a bit. Okay, if you tie the door to the tare like this, what you can use this for, what it is for actually, is, if I just grab that men first, bear with me. Let's nudge the camera. Okay, you get your men, and you take the himo with it still tied pretty much like that. So you take the himo like that, right, and you feed those himo through this loop here. To take it off camera set while I do it, because I just not got it correct in my fingers. Just a second. You put the himo through the loop like that. All right, see, like that, so that the men is then together with the door and the tare. And then what you do is you get each of these and you thread them through the kote, one on each side, through the kote himo here, yeah, like this, like that, like that. See that? And then you can use the himo then to tie that up and hang it out to dry. All right, or if you're at a dojo that's got somewhere where you can tie them and hang them up. Okay, that's what that's for, so that you can do that. In Japan, it's not that uncommon to have a place where they store Borga where there's like hooks on the wall or something like that, where you just tie them up and then hook them on like that. Okay, next one. In this video, at the 750 mark, we see Shoji Teramoto perform shikakewaza. And his stare is focused on the torso of his opponent until the strike. Although we're told to watch at the eye level beyond the opponent, he and other kenshi I know seem to be using this solution to great effect. What have your thoughts on this forward focus of the eyes. So, when you're in kamae, you should cast your eyes towards the opponent, obviously, with the feeling of enzan no metsuke, looking at a far mountain, okay? It's like you're looking at the whole mountain, not just one part of it, okay? So you're looking at the entire opponent, not just one thing. Now, different places say different things. Now, there isn't an official teaching saying you must look in the eyes, all right? Some people like to look at the eyes. That's what I do. Some people like to look at the ago, the throat area. Some people look at the chest area, and some people look at the hand area. Okay. The point is you're watching the whole thing. All right. It's not officially right or wrong to do one or the other. Now, the most common is to look in the eyes, because they often say that you can. It's often somebody's eyes betray their intentions, but there's reasons for looking at the others as well. Some people like to look around the hand area, because usually it's the hands that start to move first, and probably similar to looking at the chest area is probably the shoulders are going to move quite quickly in the whole cutting process. So that's probably one of the reasons that he uses that area. I'm not sure he does it so consciously, to be honest, having watched that video that you linked to. Okay, next one. How do I calculate isoku ito no mae, that's the one step, one cut distance, when acting as motodachi for kirikaishi for beginners? How should I change my thought process for someone shorter or taller than me? And many thanks for the answers, content and inspiration. Good. So, you calculate the isoku ito no mae, the one step, one cut distance, by judging the ability and the situation of the characteristics, really, of the beginner that you're working with. So if it's somebody that's, let's say, quite elderly, that's quite short, you're not going to stand really far away. But if it's somebody that's like 18 and very tall, then the isoku ito no mae could be further away. You have to judge that as your role as their senior or teacher. Okay, so you have to judge that for them, compensate on that for them, and think about your own isoku ito no mae at the same time. There's no like quick fix of how to do that. You just have to figure that out with the person that you're working with. As you let them strike, if you feel like they're easily reaching you and could reach further, you could maybe make it further away. In terms of how do you change your thought process for someone shorter or taller than me, I've got a video all about that. Okay, so go to the search bar when you finish watching this, put the Kendo show short and tall, and I'm sure the video will come up, all right? Because, height difference, it's called height difference. Search height difference, yeah? And it talks all about dealing with height differences in Kendo. Okay, this is the last one. I'm listening to some Kendo rant videos while I'm at work, and I thought I'd ask something of you all. Ever since you started practicing Kendo, has it ever influenced other areas of your life? Yeah. Of course, it's influenced every aspect of my life. Kendo is my life. Kendo is life. That's that's the motto of KendoStar. It influences every aspect of my life. It's helped me deal with a lot of things. Lots of adversity when things are difficult, help me overcome things that probably I didn't know I was able to overcome before I had Kendo in my life. Kendo is there to help us learn such things. We push ourselves through rigorous training to accomplish things that we didn't think were possible, and that, of course, fits into other areas of life as well. And I think that's something that brings us full circle, really, to this whole COVID-19 situation. Keeping calm under pressure or times of, I hesitate to say crisis, but in difficult times is something that Kendo is there to help us achieve. So in the spirit of that, let's keep that in mind as we progress over the few weeks. Remember what I said at the start of the video about the situation with COVID-19. Do follow the advice of your country's guidelines. Keep your hands clean. Don't go to practice and don't go outside if you are feeling ill, and don't buy all the toilet paper. Just stop that. Okay, cool. That's it. Thanks for watching today. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Shop at KendoStar when you need to. And join the Kendo Show Early Access group. That's it. Thanks a lot. See you later.